Hello crafty friends, I'm Lien from Studio Kato and I'm so happy to be back on the Syberia Designs YouTube channel today with this fun, clean and simple card and a great way to stretch your supplies. It's by no means a new technique, in fact it's one of my all-time favorites, but I always forget to do it. It's such a fun one. Every time I remember it, I love the card. And I'm going to be using the Summer Bliss and the Garden Tweets die sets from Syberia Designs, and I used the leaves out of each of these sets. I didn't use all of the leaves, but just the ones I liked for this design. I want to create a really clean and simple summery card, and I wanted a subtle background, but one with just enough interest to make it fun. So I am going to die cut a bunch of these leaves from white cardstocks, and that is what makes this card so easy to make, because usually when you're building a die cut pattern you have to plan beforehand which pieces you're going to cut out of which colored cardstock. You don't have to do that for this background. You just cut them all from white and you glue them on white cardstock as well. And it doesn't look like much in the video, probably. It's very striking in real life because it's just a fun tone-on-tone look. You can feel the dimension, especially if you use thicker cardstock. This is 300 GSM cardstock, so it's really noticeable, that difference in dimension, and it's really fun to play with. Now, when you're building a pattern, it's easiest to start somewhat from the center because it's easier to build up around the center than to try to fill the center in at the last second. That never works out, and yeah. So I just try to start from the center. When you're working with these bigger leaves, just try to find a way to make one of the leaves start in the center and go out and then build from there. That works as well. Just don't start from the edges. You're gonna have a hard time filling in the center later. I just glued all of these on with just some liquid glue. This is Barely Art Precision Craft glue, and I fill up the edges later with some small pieces cut from the die cuts. You can't really do that in the center, and that is why it's easiest to fill up the edges at the last moment. If you really want to make the background the star of the show and still want to do that white on white look, you can do that. I would stack up my die cuts probably for some stability, and then I would also add some foam tape behind them to really make them pop. I think that would be great, and yeah, that would be fun. But I want the star of the show to be my sentiments. So once I had that background all done, I trimmed off all of the excess around the edges, and I put some glue on that panel and put it on my white top folding note card. You can see I worked on a separate panel. You don't have to do this. You can just work on the front of your note card. It's not easier to work on a panel. It really isn't. But I like to add, these days I just like to add an extra white panel to the front of my card anyway, because it makes my card more sturdy. So that's just a personal preference. You can build this background just straight onto your note card. Now you can see I've already arranged all of my sentiments. This is that beautiful Hello Circle die from the Summer Bliss die sets, and I cut it from 6 different colors of cardstock. And I put some present seal over top of it, and I'm also folding the present seal around the card. So this way it creates a hinge, and it's easier to put these die cuts back in place later on, because that hinge is keeping the present seal in place as well. So I'm putting foam tape behind all of these circles. I am just putting 2 strips, one at the bottom of the sentiment and one at the top. I'm not bothering with too many tiny pieces. I will do that later on. So this is really easy to do. I did back all of the colored die cuts with an extra white die cut. Again, that's for stability, because I knew I wasn't going to cover the entire back of the sentiment with foam tape, so it's a little bit more sturdy when you stack up your die cuts. And you can see it's really easy to fold that present seal back into place because we created that hinge. and then you can peel it away and reveal the beautiful sentiments. Now, I forgot to peel off the foam tape on one of them. That's what I'm doing here. So yeah, I just put that back in place and it's all good. Now you could stop here and that would be great, but this die actually cuts out some pieces from the E and the O in the hellos, and I went a little crazy and I actually saved those pieces. I also backed them with white cardstock, and now I'm going to torture myself a little bit, and I'm putting tiny pieces of foam tape behind each of these tiny pieces of cardstock, and I'm using my tweezers to put them in place. Now this was so fiddly that I did all of it off screen because I really had to put my face over top of the card to even see where the tiny pieces were going, and the camera caught none of that. So yeah, I'm sorry for not filming that, but also my fiddling would have made you nervous. It was not good fiddling. So I do love the end result. I'm very happy I went with the fiddly part of putting all of those tiny pieces back into place, because I do think it makes a difference. It adds a little bit more color to the card. That's always fun. And overall, I really love how this card turned out. That subtle background is perfect for this sentiment heavy card. I hope you liked the card and I hope you liked the video. If you did, make sure to leave a thumbs up on this video, leave your thoughts in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the Syberia Designs YouTube channel, as well as my own channel, which should be linked on the video right now as well. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you next time.